Welcome to HD Nation, your guide to the best in HD content and the best in home theater gear, no matter what your budget is. I'm Patrick Norton.
Hey, and I'm Robert Herring.
And we are excited to be here, people.
Always.
New Harmony remote.
Lovely.
It's a keyboard.
I need a keyboard in my home theater setup.
Well, we will talk about that in a moment. Where's that cable? Where's that glorious upconverting? Oh, there it is. It's on your screen. I thought you had one in-house.
As seen at CES, this is just shipping. It's actually unavailable currently. It's been sold out. This is Seiki Digital, the company that makes the 4K TVs that are a good deal. This is an upconverting, the UVision upconverting cable. Also available as a standalone box. So if you want to give your older AV devices a 4K kick, this is one potential option.
Lest anyone think Mr. Herring is peddling snake oil from CES, this is essentially a cable that does what a 4K TV's built-in upconversion hardware should already do.
That exactly. Although this does feature, and I'm quoting off the spec sheet here, real-time enhancement, edge restoration, and quote-unquote noise reduction. All those things are going to be kind of necessary anyway if you're doing an upconversion of a video anyway to make it look acceptable. They are claiming, though, this is certified Technicolor's 4K image certification, so it's likely that this won't mess up your color, if nothing else. But as you mentioned, and keep that in mind, if you have a 4K TV, it will upconvert everything it receives to literally a 4K resolution. So you technically don't need something like this, and I would say probably save your money.
Probably save your money.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a reason why you would want that.
Right, well, maybe Seiki thinks this does a better job than the 4K upconverting they built into the televisions they were selling 6 months ago that you have in your very living room at this moment.
Or in my storage room.
Or in your storage room.
Hung up in the storage room. Yeah, you know, I cannot think of a solid reason why I wouldn't at least try the TV's built-in hardware first, rather than go into this option, because it should do something very similar.
What's the pricing on that supposed to be?
$50 for the cable itself. I believe $60 if you want the standalone box and not built into a cable itself. So,
in theory, though, you should have decent 4K upconversion inside your 4K HD TV.
Totally.
Especially if you spent more than $1,500 for it.
And this,
just saying.
Attention home theater enthusiasts, this is a quick reminder that bit rate has been and will continue to be a quick and dirty test of how good a particular piece of video will look compared to another encode of a similar resolution.
This is not another one of those Blu-ray looks better than streaming stuff.
According to the good folks at a recent post on the AVS forum, the Academy Award-winning film Gravity, they used that actually to compare picture quality across several popular 1080p resolution formats, including iTunes, VUDU, and our beloved Blu-ray disc. And you want to guess which one won?
Blu-ray.
Let's just scroll right to the fun part here. Here's a representative scene on this page, and I will just quickly point out the thing you want to look for in particular is in the face of the astronaut right here, in particular the reflections, and that is by far the thing I see most often. What makes Blu-ray look better? One of the first things I always notice that goes in an overly compressed video is reflections of any kind, and in this case, in the face mask of the astronauts, it is night and day in terms of quality difference. However, depending on how good your TV's set up, how far away you are from the screen, there are lots of other factors that go into how good the video will look or not. On certain TVs, you might not be able to see a difference between any of these formats. They're all 1080p, but because of the different ways they're encoded, the video does have a different look to them. And in general, just a good reminder that Blu-ray is the format of choice when you want to show off that quality home theater setup. And again, it's more of a, convenience versus not. And
let me tell you something. You're not gonna miss any of the glory that is the drama that is Downton Abbey because you watched it on Apple TV or Netflix or Amazon Prime or Google Play rather than a Blu-ray. But you might be shocked if you put the Blu-ray in to see how much more detail is actually being recorded by the camera and how much deeper and denser and, just to use one of your phrases, tastier the colors are. Because that was one of the things that, because I was looking and I was like, man, Downton looks really good streaming. It looks really good. And I threw in the Blu-ray and I switched. And I went, oh, So that's what color this whole scene is supposed to be. And it's funny, you're not, the only time it becomes a real nightmare is explosions. Like he's talking about, serious cinema, like Gravity, looking for the reflections in the mask. And I'm thinking, do you remember that time when we were watching Speed Racer and The Thing, and there was just a big old blocks of pixels? Like full frame explosions are the cruelest thing you can do to a low bandwidth stream.
When the bit rate can't keep up, suddenly you get the pixelation, the blocky artifacts.
Yeah.
That happens
Fire
with
doesn't come in blocks.
Broadcast television. When we used to use satellite feeds for our HD, one of the first HD sources we were using in our test lab was over-the-air satellite. And that was susceptible to the slightest whim of if there was too much action on the screen.
If there was a raven flying overhead.
Or everything. Just in general, everything looks softer compared to what we now have is at the time HD DVD and now Blu-ray. Yeah. So high bitrate encodes are the way to go. Without
love
a doubt.
Netflix, netflix.com/Texilla.
Convenience.
Love Amazon. We love them all, but Blu-ray should kick their ass.
One other quickie about Blu-ray too is that if you have audio, if you have the audio set up at home where you have a nice AV receiver that supports lossless audio formats, that's the other thing you're missing out by going with any of the other formats right now. I don't believe anybody's offering a lossless audio in a streaming service yet. That would probably be coming sooner than later, but that's one thing also. If you're a fan of cinema of any kind, if you haven't had a chance yet to just feast your ears on the sound of a lossless audio track on today's movies on Blu-ray, that's something else you've really missed out on, and you should try to get that experience.
You should also make sure you have an AV receiver that'll support the lossless codecs.
Yeah, that's true too. Make sure A before B.
HD Nation fan at CyborgX333 tweeted out this keen comment at Robert Heron. Great segment on home theater PCs recently, but you didn't mention the most difficult and confusing problem of IR remote control hardware and software. Oh my goodness, you're absolutely right.
Without a doubt, the home theater PC is one very flexible piece of AV hardware. We're talking it can do media streaming, your over-the-air or cable DVR. It can play practically any file format out there. Even the good old-fashioned discs are available for playback on the PC. But how do you control it all? And I will start off by saying for my own home theater PC, I take all routes to controlling it any which way I need. I'll start off by saying Bluetooth devices. Easy to add. I have an adapter like this one right there. These are available for a very low price, for about 10 to 15 bucks. This will allow me to control not only my keyboard, but mouses, headsets. The only downside really to Bluetooth control is that if you need to go into the BIOS for any reason of your home theater PC to do setup on that, you probably won't have control over a Bluetooth connection. You'll still need a regular keyboard or a USB keyboard at least to keep that rolling.
Stick it in a drawer, put it in the closet, bury it behind the cornflakes.
Don't forget Bluetooth, it works. Also, IP control, fast. Awesome. And we're talking things like apps on mobile devices in particular. My Media Center, if you are a Windows Media Center DVR user, just spend the money and get this app right now. This is one of my absolute favorite apps I use all the time. Channel Guide, even better if I turn the phone sideways, if I have movie galleries, things like that, but even better, a full remote control. Very quick though in terms of actually controlling the TV and all the functions related to it. And for finding things that have been recorded quickly, the recorded TV schedule is probably my favorite thing. It's like, what are the last 10 things I recorded? Boom, click, click, click. Touching any one of these instantly starts playback on the home theater computer. Really, really nice stuff there. Another way, if you want to, say, stream your content not only from your home theater PC, maybe around the house, but to, say, outside of the home, Remote Media Center Live TV is one of my favorite devices. It gets it done, and it also provides remote control functionality as well. This was based upon the old Remote Potato server program, and this is taking that up a step or two in terms of offering not only remote playback, so say I'm sitting in a restaurant and I'd like to watch something playing, a la Slingbox. If you've ever used a Slingbox system with your cable box or satellite box, this is kind of the way you would do it for a home theater PC side of things as well. Now, for mouse keyboard control, we mentioned using a Bluetooth mouse or keyboard, of course. There's also plenty of software options out there as well. One for a mobile device is something like, hey, mouse and keyboard remote, that turns your mobile device into effectively a mouse and keyboard. That you basically load up a little bit of server software on your home theater PC, and then boom, it links right to your device, and you have effectively a mouse and keyboard in your pocket or whatever your tablet device or whatever your mobile device is. And also, if it's infrared controlled, or even more so nowadays, don't forget about, well, in the case of computers, it would require infrared support built in.
Right.
And I had mentioned too, I use a case from Thermaltake called the Luxa series. They feature built-in IR, which is really, really nice. Cases like these. Or there's also $50 add-on options for many cases out there where you can just add just like the one Patrick's showing right there, actually. And if you have a computer with built-in infrared, you can control it with infrared remotes, including many universal remotes like the Harmony. We'll be talking about a Harmony product soon. Also, if you're building a home theater PC, consider motherboards that feature consumer infrared, CIR. That's one feature that doesn't seem to get a lot of play nowadays, but if it's built into the motherboard, and I know Intel's motherboards used to support this quite well, that's really convenient because it's there and you can just, as long as you have a receiver for it, you can then link it to anything effectively that can be used to control remote control devices, as far as infrared goes at least. So, simple. There's a lot of options. It's really figuring out what do you have, what would you like to add, and what do you need to do? Do you need a keyboard?
Right.
Do you just need a mouse control? Do you need something?
You just need a remote that
the
works.
Universal remote.
Right.
Lots of different ways to do it, though. And don't forget, I also use, like I said, a Harmony remote that's just a general overview for changing channels, looking through the channel guide, turning everything on and off easy. That's what that's perfect for.
One of the really cool things about living in an age where you have a smartphone, it's kind of amazing what's out there. I've been kind of obsessed lately with J-River Media Centers. I've been playing around with lossless audio playback with an AudioQuest Dragonfly DAC.
Ooh.
And one of the things that's crazy about that is how many really good apps they have that tie into the J-River Media Center system. And there are so many groups working out there, open source, for profit, and just explore, because there's a lot of really cool options now that are built around your smartphone that work over Wi-Fi or other ways.
The Wi-Fi control in particular, the speed of the connection, it's instantaneous. So there's like, if you're used to like, oh, I'm dealing with a repeater or an infrared that just seems sluggish, or this remote doesn't seem very quick, you'll find that, in generally speaking, when it's communicating over your local network, your wireless network,
milliseconds.
Yeah, milliseconds. Boom, you touch it and it's going, and it's beautiful to use that way. So if you can find the right app to control what you're doing at home, that'd be one of the first things to try, because you can often try it for free, and usually the cost for an app is usually just a couple bucks.
Speaking of controlling things, you fed up with searching movie titles or entering passwords with your thumb? Meet Harmony's Smart Keyboard, which, by the way, you can also use to control your home theater PC with one of these little guys. There are two of them in the box, USB dongles to allow you to control your home theater PC or your PS3.
That's in the box.
That's in the box.
I like that.
We'll go into what's in the box in a second. Essentially, this is a Harmony Universal Remote.
Awesome.
This is the Smart Keyboard, right? So it's kind of like, let me pull up the website here. So there's the Smart Keyboard, it's $150, which is very similar to the Harmony Ultimate 1, which is very similar to the Harmony Ultimate. Well, actually, I kind of like the Harmony Ultimate and the Harmony Smart Keyboard better because of this thing right here.
Magic.
This is the hub. The hub is pretty much the future of Harmony remotes. This takes input from the Smart Keyboard or Harmony's Android or iOS apps. It outputs IR, Bluetooth, or Wi-Fi, which means you can control Apple TV, Roku, the Roku 3, the Xbox One, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Macs, PCs, computers, dogs, cat. Okay, not the dogs and cats. But the idea, though, right, is this is kind of the future of what's going on at Logitech. You configure it, instead of having the classic Logitech configuration,
load up some software on the computer, usually browser-based.
Right, yeah, it's usually like, okay, well, I've got this cable, and I'm going to plug this cable into the remote, and I've got the thing launched, and I go through this. So what they've done is basically they step-by-step walk you through everything you need to configure every single device in your home theater system, at least up to 8 devices.
Nice.
Now, it's kind of interesting. For example, PlayStation 3, you need Bluetooth for control and the USB dongle for text. And like I said, there's 2 USB dongles in there, along with an IR blaster, a USB extender, a USB cable. But the big deal, I really think, is the Harmony app, because it's not just the configuration, it is the remote, right? So you have a remote on your smartphone. And I gotta say, it's still a classic sort of Harmony setup where you're like, okay, I've got 5 devices configured, just one more device, right? Because it's, it's kind of like, what HDMI input do I need? What AVR input do I need? What else do I need? How do I configure this? And it's just a slog, and you only do it once, and you can import your older Harmony, settings into your new device. And I gotta say, the remote really made the keyboard a lot more usable. The keyboard feels nice. It's a living room keyboard. It's going to work great with your PC or your Mac. And it's got pretty much everything you need built into it, right? So you have the activity buttons. And
cool.
If you've never seen a Logitech remote control, it's all about activities, right? Watch Blu-ray, watch DVD, watch Apple TV, watch Roku 3.
None of that like input 1,
Right.
HDMI 1, and then say play on this remote or grab another remote. It's that simple. It is an activity-based control.
So literally, watch a movie, listen to music. I got the Studio Roku set up here, Apple TV Roku, and I got to say the customizable interface is much nicer than the LCD on my older Harmony remote.
Exactly.
The keyboard is designed to be fully controlling. So if I've got like the Roku 2 hooked up on the television behind me, and not only do the volume buttons work, which is a nice thing, or at least they worked earlier.
You might be blocking the infrared.
I probably am blocking the infrared, but I'm going to be able to go through. I can go back. I can go to other activities. And I can do everything on the keyboard. So it's kind of funny, right? The Smart Control really makes it full featured. I love the fact that all the radios are built into the Harmony hub. Never thumb type again. It controls everything. The setup is easy. You just have to stomp your way through it. It finally has proper Roku control on the Harmony remotes, and activities make home theater easy for the people who don't want to have to deal with 5 different remotes. That's the whole point of one single universal remote and the activities. There are some cons to this. I have a projector. I turn all the lights off. This is not backlit.
Nope.
So Braille on this keyboard, not so good. And it's also, if I kind of handed this to one of my kids and they looked at me. So I had to be like, okay, this is going to turn on the Roku, and this will turn on the Apple TV, and this will turn on the Blu-ray player.
Small learning curve.
Yeah, there's a small learning curve there. However, if you're somebody that watches a lot of Netflix, watches, basically is tired of going bing, 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 to enter in 4 keys, you're going to love this. 8 devices max is more than enough for most folks. And I got to say, $150 is a really good deal. If that sounds really expensive, but you like the idea of the activities, they're still making the Harmony 650 remote at $80, and the Harmony Smart Control is really cool because basically this includes the hub device. You can control it from your smartphone. It's got a very simple remote. That's $130. So if you want to put everything inside of a cabinet or a closet like I do, it'll basically allow you to do that for the least amount of money.
I set that up for a client too, and that worked just perfectly for them. I have the old Media Board Pro, which is also a Logitech product. That was a keyboard for the PlayStation 3. I like the matte finish on the new keyboard, less glossy plastic that basically gets rid of the thumbprints and dust and other obvious smudges that you get in home theater components like that.
I'm just ready to exchange, basically trade out my existing Harmony remote because this one seems to be running faster and it does a better job supporting the Roku 3, which has become a big deal.
And I like having everything in the box because currently I do use a Bluetooth keyboard, but and it is a Logitech keyboard, but it's not the Harmony system, so I still have a separate Harmony remote, separate smartphone apps and things like that. This is kind of a nice all-in-one.
I'll send this home with you to play with.
Oh my!
And I'm gonna go, get a regular remote, but the keyboard works. It's good, and it'll work with a PC. At No Liberal Bull tweets at Robert Heron. Hey Robert, any tips on breaking into home theater design, installation, calibration, jobs, or starting your own company?
That's a good question.
It's a great question.
I love it. Hey, I'm going to point you to the first place to check out CEDIA, the Custom Electronics Design and Installation Association. In person or online, if you can either swing over to their site and check it out. It's really a one-stop shop for everything related to how to get trained, how to interact with customers, what technologies are out there, and it covers everything from the video to the audio to the home automation side, everything and anything related to it. And their yearly show is coming up in September in Denver, Colorado. And if you can swing out there and catch it and do some of the training in person, check it out. Otherwise, they do traveling tours to do training in different cities throughout the country. Also check on there as well. It is terrific stuff. Next up, I would also say, specifically for video and audio training, THX is one of the most intense courses I've run through as far as their home theater installer, and they even have sound engineering, cinema certification, and training events all over the United States and around the world. Again, this was some of the most rigorous training I've gone through related to just learning the nuts and bolts about how imagery and audio are created within the home theater spaces. And following right up on that, one of the groups that's been around for a long time pushing good standards and good technology is ISF, the Imaging Science Foundation. This is a group that also provides where I got my start really as far as doing video calibration training and learning about the differences between display devices and the science behind what you're seeing. And for that, it's invaluable. And I say that there are almost 2 separate courses really as far as what THX is doing as far as their audio video training and ISF, but either one is really going to get you more information than you're ever going to really be able to to swallow in one setting.
It's a Venn diagram. They're both going to get you to completely set up a home theater, both on the audio and the video side. You know, THX kind of comes out of George Lucas walking into a theater and George Lucas walks into a theater and goes, "This sounds awful." And THX is what comes out of it, a certification standard to make things sound good in every theater. ISF was somebody going, TVs should look like TVs. We have engineering standards for the performance of video. We want everything to meet up. Now they both kind of seem to cover both worlds.
Totally. And no matter what training you decide to go through, if you do this, you have to learn by doing. So you get busy with whatever hardware you have access to. Start locally, friends and family, your own gear. No matter what you're doing, though, do take this piece of advice and take great notes and lots of pictures of anything you're about to touch so that you can put it back just the way it was in case all things go to hell in the middle of it. And finally, as far as starting a business, start a website. That's the cheapest and easiest way to go. I'm also finding a lot of people use Yelp for just finding local help and services. So if you do start a business, make sure you're getting listed on services like that. That find out where people are looking for the help, and then try to put your name and face out there where that's happening, so you get some good business coming your way.
I can leave you a Yelp review.
Please do, please go look at my Yelp posting and leave me some comments. Oh, I don't know if I should say that. Only if you're a good Yelp user, I've found out.
Oh boy.
If you hardly use Yelp, just forget what I said.
The double-edged sword of Yelp. All right, that's it for this episode of HT Nation. Please share this episode or just share HT Nation with everybody you know. YouTube.com/HTNation, Revision3.com/HTNation. Subscribe. We want to see you back each and every week.
You know it. And email us your questions, your comments, or your suggestions, or post them right down below. And thank you for watching.